Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. We get together most weekday mornings at this time at 8 o'clock Central to talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and support each of you. I think we've really found the solution that many entrepreneurs are looking for in terms of having a fundable business by you and I being able to provide them a fundable shelf corporation. You and I know that there's a lot of small business owners that want and need funding, but so often they don't have a fundable business. They don't qualify. So certainly you and I can help them either buy or build a fundable business. The build is what we call the 4-week funding program. That is a great option for those that already have some pieces in place and would rather take their current business to the point that it's fundable. But what we're finding in many cases, even entrepreneurs that already have a fundable or have some elements of a fundable business would rather use the shelf option. So we're up to about 30 to 50 shelf corporations that we're setting up per day. So I'd like to thank so many of you who are contributing towards that. Let's do a quick survey before we move on. If you could type into the Q&A, like the chat box is Zoom, how many do you have? Okay, so AJ is saying that there's some background noise. Okay, hold on. Give me just a moment. We'll fix that. Not sure why that is. But let's see if we can fix that. Okay, sorry about that. I'm not sure why there was a background noise. But so the question is, how many shelf corporations do you believe that you'll close between now and the end of the week? We'll just say by the end of the day, Friday. Curious what your expectation is. Because many of you are in that pattern of doing at least one today. AJ says 3 to 4. Bill, what do you think? Are you still on track for 5 to 10 by the end of the week? So we'll talk about some best practices today in presenting the Shelf Corp, but it has been very well received, maybe better than we thought. And so if you have this flyer, I think that it is probably one of the most useful ways to present to your prospect what the Shelf Corporation does. And we also have the 2-minute video that gives them a recorded on demand. And of course, with the flyer here, you change it to put your information on it. I sent out a reminder this morning, and I think there's a few reasons why the shelf corporations are catching on so quickly. One of which is that it's a fundable business, right? We don't have to go build a fundable business. Think about if you were looking for a new home for your family. You could either go find a home that's already been built, you just move in, or you can build one from scratch. There's certainly benefits of building one from scratch, right? You get to pick the color of the carpets and the color of the brick or the tile. So I understand there's benefits. But if we're looking for fast, you can't beat the Shelf Corporation because it's already fundable. Secondly, it's remarkably affordable. They're going to pay you just $1,000, what we call down payment, for them to get a Shelf Corporation. You keep half of that. So $500 you put in your pocket. It's your profit for brokering the deal. That's not all you get, of course, but you get $500 of the $1,000. You send us the other $500 and you send us a copy of the client contract. So then what we'll do is set up financing for the balance of the purchase price. Now, what is the purchase price? It depends upon you. If you're one of our white label partners, you choose what the sales price of the Shelf Corporation is. I would say the market rate is around $20,000. I think most of you are selling it at $15,000. So we need $10,000 to cover our hard costs. So if you sold it at $15,000, you're making $5,000 profit. So you would have gotten $500 immediately up front, and then another 4,500 when we set up the financing for the client for their shelf corporation. So 5,000 out of a $15,000 transaction's not bad. And then of course you can make more later once we go to funding. So why are we selling so many shelf corporations? Well, first of all, it's because of you all. I mean, we've got some great players on the team now. We got Toby, a big hitter, Celino, a big hitter. Jeff is exceptional. Greg is incredible. We've got so many really Corinthian, Bill, so many strong producers that are, I believe, on track to do 5 to 10 deals this week. So first, thank you to those of you that are out helping create market awareness. The second is that it's fast, which we've covered. And then it's affordable, as we talked about. Now, the grant will reimburse up to $15,000 for the shelf corporation to the buyer of the shelf corporation once they've gone through both phases. So phase 1, we need to have a fundable business, buy or build. Phase 2 is when we actually go for business funding. We don't do phase 2 until we have phase 1. So the grant will reimburse up to $15,000 to the client as long as they've bought the shelf corporation from you and then go through the funding program. So in the end, it's free. The entire amount that they had out of pocket was that $1,000 because we set up financing for the rest, and then that all comes back to them. So that's another big benefit. But I don't think any of those are the main reason. The main reason that so many entrepreneurs are choosing the buy versus build, the shelf over the 4-week funding. And I think it's quite frankly the ease. So let's talk about down here on the flyer what's included. And of course, when we talk about what's included, it's identifying what's needed to have a fundable business, because that's why it's built this way. And let's just look at the business plan alone. So with these shelf corporations, everything's done for them, right? It's turnkey. So the business plan is provided. Well, if we're building a business, building a fundable business over the 4-week process, now we have to work with the client and extract knowledge out of their head and create a lender-worthy business plan. That requires involvement of the client, of course, because the client's the only one that has those ideas in their head. We have to extract them out. So it's the ease that I think is attracting so many people to the shelf corporations. Take Mr. Barker, who has Steve, one of the clients that he's brought on to the shelf corporation, and Steve already has a business. A lot of people already have businesses, but they don't have everything that's needed to have a fundable business. So rather than build out what they have, sometimes it's just frankly easier to plug and play. So let's go through the deliverables, and we're going to start not at the top of the list, but right here. And if you don't understand this, this is a great time for us to have some interaction to make sure that it's transparent and it's understood. So everyone that enrolls in the shelf corporation, they get a shelf corporation, but that's a very generic term. I mean, the real deliverables are these bullets. This is real. So we're literally within 24 hours. So of all, I think it was 38 shelf corporations that we did yesterday, all of those received 100,000 before the end of the day, before the staff went home last night. So this is real. We're literally sending 100,000 of accounts receivable to every one of these clients. And we want to deliver that within their first 24 hours of being under contract. So that way they see that, yeah, this is real. We are delivering what we promised. As far as the timeline, and I think that's what Pauline's asking. So let me pull up my notepad and I'll show you the timeline so we have that. Give me just a second here and we'll go through the timeline to make sure that everyone is familiar with it. Give me just a second to put my notepad up. Pauline as always keeps me on my toes, so let's Let's put up the notepad here. Make it small enough that we can see the flyer. So again, everybody should have a copy of the flyer. If you don't have a copy of the flyer, get with Madison. She can get you a copy of this flyer. It's free, it's editable. This is what I think that you need to communicate. But timeline. So we'll go with days. So day 0 is client contracts for Shelf Corp. So each of you should have an editable version of the client agreement. If you don't have that, get with Madison. And you'll have an editable contract. So you take our information off, you put yours on. That's the whole concept of a white label partnership. Change the pricing because we said you pick what the price is. Most of you are going to 15,000 to 20,000, but you pick the price. So first off, you want the client under contract with you. So before I go on, is everyone clear on that? So if you don't have your contract, call or email Madison. We'll make sure you have that, but that should have went to you automatically when you had your onboarding email. It's an editable Word document. Okay, so that's where it starts. So then also on day 0, client pays white label partner the $1,000 deposit. Now, the client could pay the full amount up front, and I'd say about half of our clients are just paying for the Shelf Corporation up front, credit card or what have you, PayPal, whatever, but the other half are doing the financing. Doesn't matter, it's still the same deliverable, but you need to get the client under contract using the editable agreement and then get at least the 1,000. The 1,000's the minimum. Now it's better if they just pay you all up front. So they might pay you 15,000 or 17,000, whatever you want to charge. All right. So then what happens is then we'll say on day 1, well, I guess we're still on day 0. Sorry. So day 0, white label partner uploads contract in Dropbox. Right, because we don't know what you charged them. We don't know who the client is because you're a white label partner. You did that. So we provide each of you a Dropbox, free of course, to maintain our files together. It's like a virtual file cabinet. So you're going to upload the client agreement in Dropbox and send us our half of the down payment. So you're keeping half and we're getting the other half. So let's stop there. That's day 0. So that's today. Anyone have questions, comments, concerns on day 0? Or does that make sense? Okay. If you have questions, just type them in. We'll address them. All right. So what happens next? So then on day 1, then we send client finance application. Of course, if I spelled finance correctly, it'd be better. Okay, so we're going to send them the finance application and we'll copy you. It's a simple 1-page express app. We've got about 40 different lenders without any hard inquiries. We'll make funding offers. Now, this is a question I commonly get, and I think it was Samson, but I forget who was asking it yesterday. So we'll get funding offers to the client for as much as they qualify for, not just the balance owed for the Shelf Corp. So let's say you sold it at 15,000, they put 1,000 down, so they owe 14,000. We'll run it through max funding. So they'll get as whatever offers, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. Now, of course, this isn't the business funding because we don't have a fundable business yet. But for the initial app, they'll get full offers. They can pick one or more of those offers. Let's again go back to Mr. Barker. Mr. Barker has a client. Client's name is Steve. Steve didn't want to use his own money to pay the Shelf Corp. Steve paid Mr. Barker the 1,000 down. And then he filled out the finance app. And then we ended up getting Steve, I think it was enough for the Shelf Corporation plus 2,000 or 3,000 extra is what he got approved for. So some cash in his pocket plus covered the cost of the Shelf Corporation. Now, what funding offers each person will get will be determined by the lenders, of course. All right, so then the client is going to then, let's say it'll vary by lender, but let's say on day 2, client receives money. And then on day, I guess we should make a space there because we're separating days. And then on day 2, client pays balance of Shelf Corp, which makes sense, right? Because they paid you, the white label partner, $1,000 up front. We split that 50-50. Shelf Corp is whatever you charge for it, normally $15,000. So we get the finance app, get them offers, client gets the money in their pocket, and then they pay for the balance owed. So now we're, and we'll make a line here. So now we're in implementation. We were kind of in financing up until then, right? So this is the what we'll say is the we'll call it, I guess, setup. And then now we're into implementation. Everybody good so far on the timeline? So then again, the exact day that we're on will vary by how the previous steps went. But let's just say on day 3 now, client receives onboarding email, and we'll copy you. So that's our communication. Hey, thanks for buying the Shelf Corporation. We need to get the corporation over the business into your name, and we just ask them a few basic questions. We clarify that we're the organizer, which means we have permission to transfer the business over to them. They're going to be the registered agent. They're the owner of the business, confirm contact information, and so forth. And so that happens on day 3. Once they have signed that, then normally same day or within 24 hours, client receives the 100,000. And that's the bullet we were talking about over here. So these, it's a pretty quick turnaround. Now there's other things that need to be done, right? We need to get the business into their name. We need to get the business plan over to them. We assign an address. We get their business website set up. We get their business financials going. If they need help with credit improvement. So there's other activities. Okay. Frederick asked what type of business. Right here, Frederick. I'm glad you asked that. So all these businesses are SIC code 8742. Can you see that, Frederick? Is the screen shared? So you see that? Business management consultants. Now, what you and I know, or we should know, is that regardless of the SIC code, that doesn't limit a business from offering whatever goods or services that it wants to offer. That's just its categorization, its industry code. So you might say, well, that's not going to work. My client wants to buy real estate. That's fine. Or you might say, well, that's not going to work. My client wants to start a church. Doesn't matter. No, my client wants to start a strip club. It doesn't matter what they're going to actually perform. It's the allocation of the industry code. And Frederick's right. Every business is assigned an industry code, but guess what? We get to pick what it is. And so for the shelf corporations, they're standardized. Now, at any point, you might say, well, wait. My client would rather have a different industry code. Great. That's what we call the build. So there's the buy, turnkey, ready to go, versus the build. See the difference? All right, so that's what I wanted to cover in terms of the initial timeline and implementation. Now, as far as overall, we ask for 7 days to fully transfer Shelf Corp to client. So we've said that, and I believe it's here. Let's see. Well, we say just a few days. Maybe it doesn't say, but our goal is in 7 days to have everything transferred over to the client, which means that we can apply for funding on day 8. because we needed 7 days for this. And now we're talking about business funding here, by the way. So this is the end goal, right? When you see this is just initial funding to cover the Shelf Corp. That's different than the end goal. All right, so questions, comments, concerns on what this is, how it works. A number of you are driving high volume because you're going to MCA brokers, loan brokers. Rosalind went to a bank. We have a conference call with some executives of a bank on Monday. So obviously there's a lot of people looking for funding to start or grow a business. How do you find them? Lots of different ways to find them. If you need leads, I can send you leads. Mr. Woods, let's see if he's on this morning. He's not. He usually listens to the recording. He contacted us yesterday and said, hey, I need leads. I sent him 76 leads this morning. So we have people contacting us all the time. So if you need leads, not a problem. We can get you leads. Don't charge for them. But the best leads are turn downs from loan brokers, business lenders, and so forth. And so we've talked about that. That's what Greg has done. Greg, can you type in a response how that's working? Because Greg, you took the bull by the horns, but I think it was 2 weeks ago now, and you had contacted, if I recall correctly, a couple MCA brokers, and one of the two brokers had sent you over 1,000 leads, if I understand. So as a business development professional, sure, I can send you 50, 7,500 leads today. Anyone, that's fine. But the real value proposition, it's you going out and generating awareness and bringing in leads. So if you need some help getting started, that's fine. But if you're not out creating awareness and generating leads, you're really not running a sales organization. And that was our discussion yesterday. So very strong response. Not everybody knows what a shelf corporation is. A lot of people have heard of them, and not all shelf corporations are the same. Ours is built out to be fundable. Well, what does that mean? It includes these things. So this is what's on the flyer. This is what's on the flyer. This is what's in the contract. This is what we deliver. And so what do you need? You should have a copy of this flyer. You should have a landing page if you want a landing page. You should have the editable client agreement. You should have edited the client agreement, taken our information off, put yours on, change pricing. If you're acting as an affiliate, then we have closers that'll go close the deals all day long. You take Jeff and Toby and Toyley. We got some really, really strong closers. Bill, we got really strong closers. Our closers are averaging around 91% close rate. But if you want to close your own deals, then of course you get them under contract, and then you follow the process that we stated just a moment ago, and that puts money in your pocket today on day 0, the initial day. So who has questions, comments, concerns that I can help you with? All right, Gilbert's talking about newly formed businesses, and I agree. So there's many places for leads, one of which is reaching out to newly formed businesses, which is public information. And you can see new LLCs, C Corps, S Corps, even DBAs, but there's unlimited ways to generate leads. Dr. Smith, she's in Vegas, so she's not on the call this morning. It's early in her time zone. She's doing in-person workshops every Sunday, and it's marvelous. So, but that's really what you bring to the table. I can give you examples and ideas and such, but I mean that's really what you bring to the table in this is your ability to go out and market shelf corporations. From that, you make money up front. You make money after the client gets funded. The clients get what they're expecting 100% of the time. We will deliver what we promised 100% of the time. So any questions, comments, concerns? Again, I run a pretty busy schedule, so Madison should be your first point of contact. You've got her phone number, you've got her email. you need resources. So let's go ahead, and I think that's what Toby's asking us to go through. So key resources. So number one, flyer. This flyer, I believe, is good to go. Just edit with your call to action at the bottom. So the flyer. So we'll be more specific. The Shelf Corp flyer. If you don't have it, what are you going to do? Get with Madison. So you need the flyer. Second, I think you need a landing page. You need somewhere to drive people into. We've covered that multiple times. If you're an affiliate, we provide you one that's standardized. It has our image. It has my company car versus yours. Nothing special. It's just it's a replicated landing page. If you're a white label partner, you'll probably want your own landing page, so that way the landing page is driving into you. But either way, landing page, don't have it, get with Madison. And then the third and final key resource is the agreement. Should be the client agreement. If you are just being an affiliate referring in, then you don't need to worry about this. If you're a white label partner, you're closing deals, then of course you definitely need this. And so if you don't have that, what are you going to do? Get with Madison. But it's not very complicated. There's a lot of demand. The problem that you and I solve is that small businesses are looking for funding, but they typically do not have a fundable business. So it doesn't matter how badly they want money or how badly they need money, they don't have a fundable business. So you and I, we can help them. We can help them build or buy a fundable business. And so with a fundable business, there are certain elements that's needed. And we're not the sharpest knives in the drawer, but we understand what's needed to have a fundable business. So guess what? We packaged it all up where it's very convenient. They're looking at $1,000 initial deposit paid to you today. You keep half, send us half, and then we proceed with getting them financing for the rest. The financing can be not just enough for the Shelf Corporation, but also to put them cash in pocket. They'll get the offers, they pick the offers they want, and they pay, and then we implement. All right, what else can I do for you? So AJ's bringing up landing pages. Yeah, so there's two types of landing pages. So let's go ahead and break that down to make sure. So we'll say 2A. So there's what we'll call the affiliate landing page. It's replicated. It's not personalized, it's replicated, it's standardized, right? And then the second type, 2B, is what we'll call the white label partner landing page. It's personalized, it's not replicated. So it has your image, your branding, and so forth. If you are a white label partner and you have paid your license fee, then those come free. If you're a white label partner and you waived your license fee, which is fine, no one's taking that away, then of course there's not the income coming in to offset the expense of developing all the personalized resources. Because if you do pay the license fee, then you get the personalized landing page, the videos, the financing with US Bank that we talked about, and so forth. So there's some perks of paying the license fee if you want to. If you don't want to pay the license fee, it can be waived, and you can still get the basic landing page for free. All right, any questions, comments, concerns? Let us know. Madison's your best point of contact. We'll be back tomorrow morning. We're hoping to break 50 shelf corporations today, and hopefully each of you will have at least one in, because if you're not making money every day, well, it's a lost opportunity, because we're out there hustling, and we're going to be talking to a lot of small business owners. So this is a point where you need to decide what part of the market do you want to have. Do you want to do a deal a day, 2, 3, 4, 5? We can help you accomplish whatever your goals are, but we need you to be active, and it's a pretty simple process. All right, thanks everyone. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. Let us know how we can help.